Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The Reserve Bank of India has decided to transfer nearly 1 lakh crore to the central government. This is good news for the fisc, but the RBI could have done better. Let's try and understand what is this surplus that the Reserve Bank has transferred and why it's not all there. The surplus is actually coming from what may be called profits of any central bank. Now, what does the central bank really do? Any central bank creates currency for the country. It does so because the government and the country give it the responsibility of doing so. The way it does this creation of money is by holding government bonds, and against those, it issues cash. So those government bonds are its assets and the cash are its liabilities. When it holds government bonds, the government gives it interest, whereas when the RBI gets people to hold cash, people don't charge any interest to the RBI for holding that cash. This difference between the interest income that the RBI earns and the zero interest that the RBI pays is the income of the RBI. And normally central banks return this money to the central government because they're really doing it as a responsibility that has been given to them by the system, and the way the balance sheet of the central government and the central bank are thought of, that they're really one. So this transfer of interest that is made by the government to the RBI is not really something that is being earned by the RBI, but it's more of something that is being transferred as a way of accounting for that interest, and then it should ideally go back to the central government. This understanding of the profits of the central bank, any central bank, lies at the heart of our understanding what is this surplus that the RBI is now transferring to the government. So what the RBI does is it gets this income, plus it also gets other income. So for example, banks hold cash reserves with the RBI. They're required to under the cash reserve ratio. RBI gets interest on those. There's also a difference between the repo rate and the reserve repo rate. Those are the rates, the rate at which the RBI lends and the RBI borrows. And there the RBI has a certain amount of interest that it therefore gets because of this difference. It charges more than it pays out. There is also a debt management function of the RBI. And on the basis of that, it makes this... it gets an income on the for the functions that it performs for the government as its debt manager. So any debt manager, issues debt, manages it, and for that the RBI charges an additional fee to the government for doing that. So it has all this income, and then after that, what are its expenses? It prints notes. It pays its employees to do bank supervision. So, we've often talked about how is RBI's bank supervision weak or is it strong? In some earlier episodes of Ilanomics, you'll hear me talk about the bank supervision of the RBI, particularly after the Nirav Modi scam and other scams, that this supervision has not been up to the mark. But be that as it may, let me not divert. The RBI does all these various activities for which it pays its employees. So, something like 4,000 crores, a bit above 4,000 crores is what the RBI paid its employees this year. Now, what has been happening in the past is that RBI has been holding back some of the money that it got as this income as provisions. These provisions were also called reserves. They were also called RBI's capital. They're called risk capital. And there was a lot of discussion about who actually should this money go to. Does the RBI have the right to hold these back or not? My co-author Radhika Pandey and I have a paper, and we worked on this issue, and we find that other countries, other central banks don't really have this provision of holding these reserves, other than in the case where the central bank is the one who bails out public sector banks or bails out banks. So if the Reserve Bank was the one who was putting money into banks like, very many public sector banks when they get into trouble, or if it had to bail out even private sector banks, then the central bank holds this kind of money. But in India, because the central bank does not actually have this role. This role is played by the government of India. And we've seen year after year, the government of India is the one that puts money into public sector banks when they run into trouble. That this money need not be held by the RBI. So those of you who are interested can go into the details. We've got the link of the paper in the article below, and the link to the article is given in just below. So you can, go through all the arguments, but basically this was something that was much debated. And then the government set up the Bimal Jalan committee, which looked at whether RBI should hold back money for these provisions or not. They now call it provisioning. Now, when the union budget was announced, the surplus that was expected to be transferred to the central government from the RBI was more than 70,000 crore. But now they've held back 20,000 crore. Now, while this 50 is what they have in addition to what they were going to transfer, they've transferred a total of nearly 1 lakh crore. So it was expected to be around 50. The exact numbers are there in the link below in our column. So while it was expected to be about 50, they added another 50 from what they were going to hold as provisioning or going to hold as reserves, and they've only held back 20. And therefore, the amount that they've given to the government is more than what it expected to give when the budget was made. Now, that's a good thing because, we know that the second wave has affected the economy, that tax revenues are going to be perhaps worse than was expected when the budget was made. We also know that India's debt GDP ratio has risen hugely. It's risen from 74% in 2019 to what the IMF is projecting it to be 90% in 2020. And what that really means is a lot of burden of interest payments. So it's good that the RBI has transferred this additional 50,000 crore. But why not the entire amount? So, for one thing, in terms of its expenditure, the RBI is not audited by the CAG. All other regulators are. But, the RBI Act 1934 was written in British times, and there was no provision in that act for the CAG to audit RBI. So the RBI's expenses are, I would say, unaudited by at least the CAG. So they have their own private auditors who audit their accounts, and they're not accountable to the government or to Parliament the way other regulators are. But that's an issue that has been there for forever. So let's come to the issue at present. RBI need to hold back this 20,000 crore provision that it has, which is a contingency fund, which is for bailing out banks, which it never does bail out, and nor is its role or responsibility to bail out banks. So this contingency fund for which this money has been held is part of a reserve which was allowed that the RBI could hold it back. So it does that without the permission of the government or Parliament. But it adds to its roughly 10 lakh crores that it's already holding as reserves, which, in our opinion, it did not need to hold. Also, when do you hold contingency? You hold contingency in good times. You don't hold back contingency at a time when things are as bad as they are. For the various reasons that RBI has held those reserves, none of those reasons would actually be relevant today and its need for holding those reserves. It draws this right to do so from the recommendation of the Bimal Jalan committee, which said it could hold 5 to 6% as contingency funds. I think it's a time when maybe the government should set up another committee, look at whether this is necessary or not, because this year is bad. The next year is also, the economy will pick up. It won't be as bad as it was last year, but still we are going to still be a weak economy and we'll be in trouble. So we need to go back and visit that provision again, because this should not be arbitrarily something that the central bank can do. This should be looking at the needs of the economy, looking at the condition today. That money would be better spent on vaccines, on healthcare, or even if you had to make provisions, then making provisions for something like, an indemnity fund. If we allow foreign vaccines and if they need us to provide indemnity, then that could be the kind of fund. But basically, we need to revisit that question again, the question of RBI reserves, because if an institution is holding back money at a time like this, then we certainly need to question what it is doing and what right it has to do so. So in summary, the additional 1 lakh crore certainly helps, but there's no good reason to have held back the 20,000 crores, and that we should, at a time like this, see much more coming from the RBI, and the government needs to set up another committee that could look into how much of capital the RBI needs to hold and why. I'll take questions on this and much more on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So please do send your questions in. See you then.